Hi everyone, Delphina here from Be Made Whole. Today my topic is on assumptions. Assumptions are something that are a part of everybody's life. We've all made assumptions. We often catch ourselves making assumptions. We've all made so many mistakes with assumptions. Assumptions generally are a mistake to make for the most part, because our tendency as human beings is we tend to assume towards the negative. It's just the way life has probably conditioned us. When we catch ourselves assuming, it generally is towards the negative. Not all assumptions are bad or negative. You can have a positive assumption when you believe the best of a person, and that's really ideal. So we don't want to take that away, but the negative assumptions, what effect it can have on our lives, is what I want to talk about today. Assumptions are something that can make us laugh a lot. You watch movies where people assume things and then they go totally off track. And that's what assumptions do. They can make us go completely off track of what's really going on because we assume the wrong thing. And some of the funniness that I've seen in the assumptions that I've made, I mean, it's made me laugh so many times, laugh at myself. It's good to laugh at yourself. We shouldn't take ourselves too seriously. One day I was driving down the road and I drove past a car that was driving. I've told this story before. Some of you might have heard it before. As I drove past this car, there were people speaking in the car, but their hands were really flying and going crazy, and it looked like they were angry with each other. And I thought someone's going to hit someone any minute. So I began praying going down the road as I passed them. I prayed up a storm. I rebuked the strife. I prayed for peace. I prayed that they would find a solution. I mean, I went crazy praying down the road. And up ahead, when I got to the red traffic light, this car pulled up next to me, and I was able to see what was going on. And when I looked properly, I noticed that they were not angry with each other. It was not an argument. They were speaking in sign language, and they were just getting excited. And I remember the feeling I had with that. I laughed at myself. I thought, gee, all that praying for nothing. I mean, I went totally off on a tangent that had nothing to do with what was really going on. And I should maybe have prayed that they would get their hearing and be able to hear, so they won't have to talk in sign language. But I went totally off track, and I had to laugh at myself. I spent the next few minutes just laughing at myself and recognizing in myself. I recognized that assumptions can just make us do some stupid things, you know. And someone once said about assumptions, they said, assumption is the mother of all problems or disaster or trouble, something like that. And, you know, assumptions really are the mother of many disasters. They can cause us to misinterpret each other so easily. And assumptions can often have disastrous effects. In my own marriage, I learned that a hard lesson that way. For many years, my husband had, not all of his behavior, but some ways that he had were hurtful towards me. And I just put it down to, oh, he's being selfish, or he doesn't care. And I just brushed it off as that. But the thing with that kind of assumption was that over the years, I was building up a wall between me and him in certain areas, in certain parts of my heart. There were certain areas of my heart that I wouldn't open up to him because I had that negative assumption. And as the years went by, I began to realize that those habits were not evilly intended. I began to realize that it was just because of his upbringing, his role models he had, experiences that he had, and they all molded him. And these little habits that he had, he didn't actually do them with an evil intention. That was his normal. And only when I began to see it that way and realize that it was, I got rid of the assumption, basically. Then I could see who he really was. I could see him for who he really was. And that area of my heart that I had closed off, that walls could come down, and I could begin speaking to him more openly. And today I can speak much more openly with him about anything, even the hard things I can speak about. So this is my challenge to you today. When you're making an assumption, make a positive assumption. Don't assume negatively. Don't assume the negative in a situation or the negative of a person. Believe the best always, because assumptions, they can make you laugh and they can cause a lot of humor in your life, but they can also cause a lot of damage. Imagine where my marriage would have been today if I carried on like that. I could have destroyed our marriage. It could have blown over into other things and just gotten worse and worse. A lot of damage could have been done. And so that's my encouragement today is if you catch yourself assuming, let it always be the best of someone and not the worst of someone. Thank you very much.